A very good morning to you guys. Welcome to our Cllr Online. Today we're coming live from Nketa, an area which houses many schools, such as Nketa Primary, Nketa High, Nketa Primary, and is led by the councillor for this ward, that's Councilor Aleck Ndlovu. We're going to speak to him this morning to understand more of different issues affecting people from this ward, and also to get to profile this ward, get to know the people that are part of this ward. Good morning to you, Councillor. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Brighton. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So let's reflect on the 10 months or 11 months after the polls. How has been the journey so far as a new councillor in this ward?
All right, I would say the journey has been somewhat a bit challenging because we came in at a time when the city of Bulawayo faced a lot of challenges. And one that really stands out is that of water shortage. We have had a gloomy picture in terms of the season. And because of that, it really affected a lot of programming and the plans that City Council had to do. Because once you are short of water, it means people's lives are threatened. And water must be given priority. The very fact that water is no substitute. You just have to deal with the provision of water. Clean water, safe water, for that matter. Yeah. And related to that, there are also sewer challenges because the reticulation system functions well if you have got adequate water in the system. So we have had to deal with those challenges. And also the culture of public littering. We have come in at a time when these are a serious challenge in Bulawayo. So we are dealing with the mindset and the culture change of the people who are into, public dumping of litter. Not to mention the broken or the rotten infrastructure of particularly our road. Road network is gone. I would say it is broken, it is rotten, it is decayed. We literally almost have no roads. We got craters in our roads. It's potholes everywhere. Yeah, we're talking about tarred roads. The gravel roads, it's another painful story to tell because they need re-graveling, they need grading, but all that is being stalled, yeah, because of the challenges of prioritization.
Now let's focus on the boundaries. I know this is one of the biggest wards as well. Look at the boundaries. How does your ward stretch from one point to another? Give us a boundary, the map of this ward, which areas are part of this ward.
All right, for those of you who know Brethren in Christ Church, that's where we start, and then we drop westwards. We go and cross Nketa Drive on the southern side of Nketa 9 Flats. We cross over into Nketa 8, then we go downwards, westwards along Cllr Road. Then just before we get to Nketa Secondary School, we turn to the right to include houses which are on the eastern side of this Nketa Secondary. Then we go around to include Nketa Secondary School. Then on its western side, we then cross right across, having to move on the western side of Nketa 8 Beer Garden. We cross over into a line that lies between Masocheni and Mbundane. You recall that Mbundane is a rural constituency. It's under Cholocho South. So we are taking all Masocheni up to an SDA church, which is situated at the corner of Graham's Way and this road which we would have been using. Then that corner marks our corner point, that's the boundary. We then move eastwards along Graham's Way up to a point near Food for Less. We are back at Nketa Drive. Then we drop a little bit to the north, then turn along a road that goes eastwards to move on the northern end of Senzanga Corner Primary School. So all those new stands that you see in Mkanwini belong to my ward. We continue going eastwards up to a point where there is a meeting of two tarred roads. Then we turn along a point along a tarred road, which then moves due north up to Nketa 9 Shopping Center. Then we get to Nketanan Shopping Center, we get into the main road, which then leads you back to Brethren in Christchurch where we started. So that's about makes a boundary of my ward. Ward 25.
Are you mentioning different names, the historical names? Senzangakona Primary, Mkeka Primary, and also Nketa Bar. Maybe speak to us about these names. What significance do they have, or historical meaning do they have to this ward?
Well, I wouldn't really be accurate on that one, because when this community was given birth, those names, we just found those names being given to those places. I wouldn't really be able to articulate the historical meaning behind Mkhiqiga. But then there are some people who have tried to explain it in their own way of understanding. They said that Mkhiqiga means a school which has got students of high caliber. It means, you know, if you develop literally translation, the meaning, something that rolls over in high speed is said to be Ukikega. So I think they gave it that name looking at how the students were performing. Yeah.
But speaking of those boundaries also, how do you communicate with residents from these areas? I know we've mentioned many areas, Konangapa. How do you communicate with these residents in terms of feedback meetings? How do you plan these meetings with them?
All right, looking at the nature of our boundary, you find that there's a portion of Nketa 8, there's a portion of Mkanwini, which is under Masochen, a portion of Mkanwini, the eastern side of the ward. Then there's also a portion of Nketa 9. I have a total of 4 schools, 2 secondary schools, namely Mkanwini Secondary School, then Nketa Secondary School, which is also a government school, then 2 council-run schools, Mkanwini Primary School and Mkhiqiga Primary Schools. So the ward residents public feedback meetings, which are done monthly, I hold them in these schools. And I've looked at the structure and the nature of our ward to say one meeting must be held at Mkhiqiga, the next one must be held in Mkanwini Secondary School, then the third one is supposed to be held at Mkanwini Primary. These places are strategically situated to enable all residents ease of access to the public meetings. Because if you were to say maintain one of these venues as a public residence meeting, it means other people would have to travel long distances or even board taxis, combis, or commute to those centers, and that is going to be problematic. So I do the rotation myself, going to be at their service near where they stay.
But also in these meetings, who's the large people coming to these meetings? Is it the elderly people, is it young people are coming to these meetings? And also in terms of, is it a high turnout or low turnout at these meetings?
Yeah, my observation is that largely it is adults. It is property owners and some who are probably renting who attend these meetings. The youth, it would apparently appear that they are not all that keen in attending those meetings. It's largely the elderly people. But then again, when I began the first meeting, attendance was low. But then as we really got to organize and then explain to the people the boundary and explain to them so that they could understand what they belong to, the numbers started to grow. So I would say for now, attendance has picked up, unlike in the beginning.
So what can be done to attract the young people in this ward to come to these meetings and also area views? Because remember, what we discuss in these meetings also affect them. What can be done to attract the young people in this ward to come and also attend these meetings?
Yeah, you raise a very, very important question, because the youth have felt left out, they felt ignored in terms of their needs and the programming and the issues that we discuss. So what should be done is that we really need to look for them. Something which I'm hands-on, I'm actually doing. I've even created a WhatsApp group which is called the Youth Space. And a lot of them know about it. Slowly they are coming on board. I believe that they need to be organized as youth themselves, both boys and girls. They have to come on board so that they can best articulate their issues, put out their issues to us, so that we can then find solutions if there are any challenges together. But we need to bring them on board. And the very fact that they are not coming, it means there is something that we, as a leadership of the community, are not doing. We need to find them, we need to engage them so that we understand what type of programming can actually entice them to be part and parcel of the discussions and solutions finding in the ward.
Now let's focus on the issues affecting this ward. Earlier on mentioned the issue of the sewer systems, right? The issue of the road systems as well. Let's focus on these two issues. What are the problems affecting Abantu Bega Ward 25 when it comes to sewer systems and also the issue of the road networks?
Yeah, I think the sewerage system is the biggest challenge that we face, mainly because I think, as you would know, we have had a gloomy picture in terms of the season. We never had adequate rainfall. I think for the first time in many years, for as long as I can remember, this has been one of the worst seasons that we have had to experience. Because you look at people who are into peri-urban farming, they are also conceding that they have never seen such. It's the first time that they failed to harvest anything. Some didn't even complete the agricultural activities, and the rains just went away. So tied to that, you then have sewer outbreaks, which then sprout all over. You call them sewer chokes, you call them spillovers, you call them sewer outpours, you call them sewer bursts. You know, they are called by many names. They start to occur simply because the reticulation system does not have adequate water inside those pipes. So you then develop problems of the sludge not moving, you see? So that's the biggest challenge that we have. And as the councillor for the ward, I've introduced what we call the big flush, which is localized. The big flush, I've said to people, look, the big flush, we need to use wastewater. We need to use borehole water, because the immediate question was going to be, how do we do the big flush when there is no water? So I say to them, wastewater must not be thrown away. It must be kept in large containers, and borehole water, people can always, you know, thanks to the city council planning and our partners who have helped us to put up boreholes in multiple places, so they can always use that to deal with the program that I've set up. So sewer is the biggest challenge. And then the road network, yes, the road network is something that is so painful to think about, because the people pay for their car licenses to drive on good roads. But because the nature of our roads is such that they affect people's suspensions, the suspensions for cars. People need to drive on good roads. But it's also not serving as an incentive for people to go and pay, because the road network is gone, my brother. It's a sorry state. In fact, I'm not only talking about my ward, even the highways that transcend across my ward. The road network is so disappointing. Yeah.
Now let's focus more on the lighting now. You know what? Also the tower lights, issue now of the tower lights. Many councillors have been saying about the issue of the now putting prepared meters there. Speak to us about the issue of the tower lights. Are your tower lights working in this ward, and what can be done to solve the issue of lighting in your ward?
Yeah, we have gone through a very bad patch concerning public lighting, and people's security was seriously compromised because of a standoff or a stalemate between BCC and ZESA. You know, ZESA went on a rampage to disconnect us from power. You realize that tower lights belong to City Council, but the power belongs to the power utility. So they disconnected us, not only from street lighting and the tower lights, but also from the traffic lights. Can you imagine? Traffic lights, robots, they were put off. I'm sure for most of us who live this side of town, we drive through Plumtree Road and Masie Pambil. That robot, as I speak to you now, is still off. It was targeted for switching off. So once the setup is now in darkness, You then have related risks to do with people who then begin activities like marking, robberies, you know, children lose their phones, adults lose their phones as well, laptops, you know. Not only, you know, personal properties, even public infrastructure. Once you have darkness in the ward, it then means that those who are into the business of stealing other people's property, they've got good cover. Yes. Even ZESA itself was not spared because most of their cables were targeted when it was dark. So this is the challenge. However, we are not only lamenting this stalemate, we are still engaging with ZESA to try and find a common solution regards the prepayment system which they want to introduce. We are engaging them, but however, we are also forward-looking. We are thinking about green solutions. We are thinking about a program of solarizing our tower lights so that we can have energy from the sun. We think perhaps this has been an opportunity for us to wake up from our deep slumber, because I think that tower lights, given good investment, given good expressions of interest from investors, we can open a new chapter. If we put solar on our tower lights, it means we will get over this problem of tower lights switching off because ZESA has challenges. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, but also coming from a background where you have been leading associations from the resident associations part, right? Let's talk about how important, I know in Bulawayo, most of suburbs in Bulawayo have this Osbote and so on and so on. So on. Speak to us about the importance of having these associations as Gaben.
Yeah. Yeah, those are critically important because they form part of our what do you call them? Leadership structures. They actually aid me as councillor. They also help themselves because Osbote, they are the lowest for the leadership structure. They organize communities at the local level, especially in terms of bereavements, in terms of, you know, these thefts that we said they need action from the committees. You talk of your neighborhood watch committees. They are actually set up, formed, and operated along those lines, along the structures of these Bute committees. Besides, they are very important in terms of information dissemination. When there is something that me as councillor wants to communicate, I relay it to the leadership, and then in turn they cascade the information down to their blogs or to their lines or to their areas. So they are quite useful in terms of a collective leadership of the community. Above them we have residents association. They also play a very important role, and where I've had the opportunity to engage them, I have said, look, gentlemen, you may be associated with different associations, but my call and plea for you is to work together. You are not there to compete. You are not there to fight amongst each other. You are there to complement each other. Because the main objective is to actually make sure that the well-being and the welfare of the residents association is in the best possible, you know, leadership hands. So I think about leadership and the structures, that's what I would say. It's basically about creating harmony, harmonious relations. They in turn also have to work with me. I in turn have to understand that they must work independently. They must not sing praises about the councillor. They must articulate their issues, speak to residents' issues without fear or favor. And I also work with them in such a way that sometimes they request venues. I offer my office for such meetings. As you know, my office is in Cllr. I allow them to meet there independently without my presence. Then should there be need for them to meet with me, I also engage them. In Ward 25, we have a total of 14 Zibute committees. And I've also created a separate WhatsApp platform for those, so that if there are matters to do with leadership discussions, matters to do with what they must do in their specific areas. We put the information in that platform. Then each person there who is the chairperson and their structure, they are then charged with the duty of cascading that information down to that, to their areas of residence. Of course, these things we have just begun. Some are really trying to adjust and sobering up to their duties. I think as time goes on, it will be smooth sailing.
Councillor, you sit in different committees, one of them being audit committee, one of them being environment and engineering committee, right? Let's speak about the issue of importance of preserving our environment. I know people are always cutting down trees, they're always littering all over town, or even you know what. Speak to us about the importance of keeping our environment clean, also preserving it for future use.
All right. The environment is critically important, my brother. You raise an important point there, because when we talk about the environment, we're talking about preserving our land space in the best condition that it can be. We're talking about the trees, we talk about the grass, and we have to make sure that we preserve the natural environment. You know, trees, we know the role that they play. They take a poisonous gas from the atmosphere and then emit the gas that we need in order to live, which is oxygen. So they actually play an important role there. So we need to make sure that we minimize the tree cutting, indiscriminate tree cutting. We need to actually encourage afforestation programs so that we green the city, so that we beautify the city to its former glory. But however, on that point, I would mention that with the challenges from ZESA, you know, when people see a tree, they see firewood. So that's the biggest tragedy that we encounter. Even trees which were planted for beautifying the city, the ornamental trees, they are being targeted. People see firewood when they see a tree. But we need to come up with a robust mechanism of making sure that people are educated about the need to preserve environment. It also impacts the climate. We hear about climate change issues. You know, these days there's so much education about, you know, climate change action. You know, recently our mayor launched a youth fund action for the youth. Yes, it was launched in Pumula to try and encourage those between 15 years and 24 years to come on board. Because much of what is going to happen in the future rests with the young of today. So we need to preserve our trees. We need to preserve the beauty. Yeah, that's what I would say about trees. That's the environment.
Yeah. Speaking of young people and also being part of these initiatives, right, there's a huge problem affecting Ubulawa as a whole, the issue of alcohol and drug abuse affecting Ubulawa. In terms of your Ward 25, do you experience that? Have you ever seen any young people who are sticking in because of alcohol? What have you seen in terms of alcohol and drug abuse in your ward?
Yeah. Well, that's a problem that is cross-cutting. My ward is not spared. It is not immune from that challenge. You know, I think to a large extent it matters to do with unemployment in the country general, because the children go to school so that when they finish school they get employment. But you find that we got a lot of graduates who have gone through, you know, primary, secondary, tertiary, you know, education, only to find themselves lying around, idling around, you know, making applications, but they never get employment. So I think to a large extent, the youth of today are depressed. And that depression then leads them to indulge in some of these evil acts. It's bad, it's not supposed to be encouraged, but these are the issues that they bring up. You know, you find to say, they will tell you, we have tried employment, we have tried to get opportunities, but they are not succeeding in that regard. So that problem is there, and we have seen them in so many places, then resulting to drug abuse, alcohol use, excessive use of alcohol. And some of them, you know, because of peer pressure, they also fall victim. Yes, but it's a problem that we have noted, and we have taken steps to try and address. Like I said, I've formed what is called the youth space, where we articulate these issues, not only on social media. It doesn't end there. When we hold our monthly public meetings, we also invite them. And as we move forward, I'll be making it a point that I sometimes engage them in their own meeting as the youth. But now the focus is on building the structures, creating awareness for them, you know, across the political divide, across the tribal origin, across associations, across affiliation. All the youth, boys and girls, must come on board so that we work together.
Lastly, Councillor, earlier on you spoke about the issue of a water kiosk that you guys need to be developed, right? If someone's watching this show this morning and they want to be part of this initiative to help you guys maybe build that bowl, that water kiosk, what can you say to them? They're in the diaspora, they're the sons of Ward 25, they want to help you build this water kiosk. What can you say to them in terms of helping you guys to develop this initiative?
I would say, please, we are appealing for your assistance because as you would have known, Bulawayo is facing a serious water shortage, which has led us to have a 120-hour water shedding program. And that is a disaster because our dams never had inflows. It then means that Council had to come up with initiatives to follow the water that is underground. And that's only through borehole water, which means that we then need to drill deep boreholes so that we can perhaps draw that water, extract that water from the underside and put it in kiosks that need funding. To put up a kiosk, you don't need a small budget because you need JoJo tanks, you need solar panels, you need the stand, you need the pumping equipment, you need the outlet pipes, you know. It's quite a heavy investment. So we are making an appeal to say we got so many boreholes that Council has actually come up with through working with sympathizers, donors. You know, we have helped the Council to put them in dotted places around my ward. But some of them are incomplete because it's still those old manual ones which are operated by pumping manually. So the focus is, one, to have more additional boreholes because we have no water. And also upgrade those which are still manually pumped. We use the manual pumps so that we can have the solarized ones. So we are appealing to everyone else who can have something to spare to actually rescue us because this has been a terrible season.
Councillor Ndlovu, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Brighton. You're welcome.
Well, I've been watching the Asake Online interview where I'm coming live from Ward 25 right here in Kllr. I'm speaking to Councillor Aleck Ndlovu from Ward 25. They're speaking about different challenges faced by people from Ward 25. One of them being the issue of water crisis. They are in need to come up with a water kiosk for the people of Ward 25 to get water. And again, spoke about the issue of road network, poor road network affecting people from this ward. And also, lastly, spoke about the issue of sewer systems. He introduced the big flush for the people of Ward 25. It's going to alleviate the problem of sewer problems in this ward. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Remember, this area houses many schools. For example, Mketa Primary School and also Cllr Primary School is part of this ward. Hope you guys enjoy the show and we value your feedback and want to hear from you. Please drop us a comment there via the comment section. We want to hear your thoughts around what can we cover in terms of different wards. We are live coming through from myself, Brighton Ncube. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Is bye for now.